Well, this surely is a change of pace. Like you're hearing my voice for the first time.
Hi.
Anyways, hello! My name, at least online, is Super Dragon, or Super D for short. If you aren't familiar with what I do, I basically just do FNF music and sometimes art for FNF mods most of the time, with some exceptions here and there. But I wanted to start being a bit experimental with this channel every once in a while, and by that I mean not just uploading FNF songs. So this is my first attempt at being more experimental, I guess. Yep, I went from making FNF songs to now ranking them. What a plot development. More specifically, I'll be ranking the songs from FNF D-sides. Now, I'd explain what that is, but there's no way you clicked on this video not knowing what the hell a D-sides is, so no need for that. Instead, I'll quickly talk about why I'm choosing to rank D-sides of all mods. I mean, Friday Night Dustin just came out a few months ago when writing this, and that mod has,
Debatably,
better songs than D-sides, so why D-sides specifically? Well, to put it simply, D-sides is the mod that means a lot to me. It's the mod, alongside Aerofunk, that really got me into FNF and making content around it. And while I could rank Aerofunk instead as it has less songs and would save me more time, I quite frankly hate myself and chose the mod that's hard to do in every way possible. Plus, I have a lot more to say about D-sides than Aerofunk, not even just about the songs I'll be talking about today, but also just the current state D-sides is in right now. And yes, by that I mean the Redux version. At least I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. I'm too bored to double check. But I'll save most of my thoughts on the Redux version for the end of the video just because this intro is lasting way too long and I know you all just want me to get into the ranking. So I'll just quickly go over the rules I use for this ranking before getting into it. First of all, I'll be ranking songs purely off of music alone. While I might mention how cool the art looks in a song a few times just because of how much I love it, that won't factor into the ranking. Secondly, I will be ranking the current versions of all the songs that are in the game. For example, when ranking Feeling Nice, I'll be ranking the version in the most recent build, not the V2 version made for Redux. And finally, I won't be adding covers for, obvious reasons. They aren't songs from the mod itself, just covers of other songs from other mods. Weirdly enough, only songs from Roboguy for some reason, but I digress. So with all that being said, let's see what I deem to be the worst song in D-sides. Wait. What? What do you mean I have to change my character's design? Okay, I get this is a D-sides video and every character has a new design in D-sides, but that doesn't mean I have to do that too! No, I won't do it! So, with 40 songs to rank, it must have been hard to choose which one was my least favorite.
no, it really wasn't.
This is the only song I would consider F tier from the entire OST, since even though I don't like the D tier songs that much, at least they gave me something to enjoy, unlike this song that has barely anything I could consider decent. And that song is Thorns. I don't even know where to start with this song. Well, let's get out my positives, the little ones that I have. I don't know. I kind of like the guitar at the very beginning of the song. There's also a part like the 44-second mark that I actually kind of like as well. And that's about it. Really, everything else in this song is genuinely awful. First, let's talk about the chromatics. I don't like Sensei's chromatic in general, if I'm being honest. I feel like it works sometimes, like in Fittingly Enough, the song called Sensei, but past that, I think his chromatic just kinda sucks. I feel like it's just a bit too deep, so when he plays a ton of notes, like how he does in this song, it just sounds clunky and messy. Boyfriend isn't much better since, while he definitely is better than Sensei, he still doesn't sound that good with the compression that was added to his voice. The instrumental feels so empty and boring, the only saving grace being that guitar I mentioned earlier, but that's really only at the beginning of the song. Well, at least I think it's only at the beginning. I don't remember hearing it anywhere else, and I'm not listening to this damn song again just to correct myself. Finally, all the melodies, aside from the one at the 44-second mark, which is fine, I guess, are just not nice to listen to. How did everyone on the D-side team hear this song and think, damn, this is worthy of being in D-sides along with many songs that are actually good? Genuinely, this week in general just pisses me off so much because it was the introduction to the V3 update, an update filled with some of the best songs from the entire mod. And the new update just had to start with usually the worst week in D-Side's base game. I can't with this song, and I'm so happy I never had to listen to it ever again, now that I'm done with this video. Let's just move on to the next song already. It literally can't get worse. Well, Smash isn't as bad as Thorns, but I don't even know if I can say that's a compliment given how awful Thorns is. This song, instead of making me incredibly frustrated, just makes me bored, which I guess is a slight improvement. I mean, I'll admit that I like the idea of Boyfriend beatboxing for an entire song. I feel like mods don't use beatboxing much outside of Fresh remixes, so it's cool to see it be utilized. I just wish it was utilized in an actual good way, since the beatboxing feels like it's just random melodies that have no flow with the rest of the song. I actually don't mind how Placeholder sounds though. I don't know, I like listening to his glitch sounds more than Boyfriend's beatboxing. I also like when he brings in Tankman's vocals for small bits, as those are easily the highlights of the song. It's nothing amazing, but I think it's kinda neat. But yeah, past that, this song is just really boring, with some decent Tankman parts here and there. Honestly, aside from Thorns, which I genuinely hate, there's no other song in the OST that I have too much hatred towards. I mean, there are some sections in songs that get me a bit mad, but there aren't any other songs that I would say are completely awful. So I probably won't be too harsh for the majority of this video from now on, except for some exceptions of course. Anyways, we've been on this song long enough, let's move on. Ridge. Yep, another placeholder song. I'll be honest, while the idea of having the character from the chart editor for week 0 is actually really smart and creative, he just doesn't have that good of songs, except for one which is pretty decent. But I'll talk about that song later. This is about Ridge, and it's just as boring as Smash in my opinion. The energy of the song makes it feel like I should like it more, but I just don't. The only reason why this is above Smash is because Boyfriend actually has his normal chromatic throughout the entire song, and the melodies are just a tad bit better. But there's also just a ton of pause in this song, and it ruins the pacing completely. Like, the song isn't devoid of good qualities or anything. Like I said, there are a few melodies I actually kinda like, and I think Placeholder and Boyfriend's chromatic work really well together. Something I would have mentioned in the last song, but you know, Boyfriend didn't even use his chromatic in that song, so why point it out then? But the good qualities are just not good enough to outweigh all the boring and bad parts of the song. So while Ridge is perfectly fine, I just don't care for the song in the slightest. But I will say this, I could definitely see a remake of this song going crazy because it does have the energy needed, it just didn't have a good enough execution to make it work. But I have hope that the team can make this song a lot better if they're going to remake it for Redux. Oh my fucking god, we're already back to another Sensei song? But hey, I can at least give Roses some credit for actually having a couple of elements that I enjoy. It just sucks that the second half kinda ruins all of my positives, but we'll get to that in a minute. Back to the positives, I actually like the instrumental quite a bit, and it's pretty decent throughout the entirety of the song. It's not like some god tier instrumental or anything, but comparing this to the other Sensei song I've covered, then it might as well be god tier given how much better it is. I have about the same complaints with the chromatics as I did with Thorns. The only difference is that I think Sensei sounds a tad bit better here. And the melodies aren't too bad, like all the references to the original Thorns being handled pretty well, especially the ending pop-off, which is easily the best part of the song. I also like how the sounds from Sensei's fighting notes blend into the song. They never feel random or out of place. My only complaint with that is, why didn't Boyfriend do anything special with his fighting notes? Seriously, they couldn't have made him at least say yeah, or whenever he hit those notes. That could have been so cool if they did that, but they didn't! Whatever, it isn't too much of a complaint. Just feels like wasted potential for what could have been an awesome idea. Oh yeah, I can't forget to mention Sensei's voice lines in this song. They're so stupid, yeah, I can't help but love them. That's the only way I can describe them, really. And hey, they're the most memorable part of the song besides that pop-off, which, again, I actually kinda like. But yeah, this song is pretty decent in its first half and drops off completely in its second half till the pop-off at the end. Nothing else to say. Okay, finally, we're out of the week 0 and week 6 pit hole for now, and finally onto something else. Yeah, Feeling Nice is definitely a song that exists. Nothing too bad about it besides that awful ending. Like, Pika and Boyfriend sound decent, nothing to know about them, except for that I like how Boyfriend sounds at the beginning of the song, but that's basically a given since this is Feeling Nice we're talking about, the big ol' bunny song. But yeah, kind of the same situation as Rose's, where I could jam with the first half, but when the gun shooting part comes in, it drops off for a bit. The difference here is that it doesn't take as long for it to pick up again, as it gets back on track with Pico's pop-off. And while the ending is genuinely really bad, and there's this annoying clicking sound in the instrumental throughout the entire song, the first half makes it good enough to be higher than the previous songs. Also, quick note, I just want to say that the new version of this song for Redux is so much better. I'm obviously not going to go in depth or anything, again, this video is already long enough as it is, but I say that the new version is a B tier. Pretty neat stuff. And we're right back to week 6. God damn it! But Sensei is easily the best of the normal Sensei songs. For example, this is easily where Sensei sounds at his best, and the compression on Boyfriend isn't that bad. I like the instrumental for the most part. I especially like all the sound effects that are thrown into it. They're just really fun to listen to, my personal favorite being the "you win" one. But for some reason there's a random pause at the halfway point that feels so odd and weird. But hey, after that weird pause, it transitions to my favorite part of the song, where it builds up again into the original pacing from the beginning. Nothing special, but I kinda like it, I guess. This song honestly could have been at least a C tier, but I just don't care for it enough to put it there. So while I never want to come back to this song ever again, I can at least respect this song for not being an awful opening for week 6. Too bad the 2 songs after that ruin it, so who cares?
Okay, that was 35. Let's see, that was the end of the D tiers. Now we're on to C tiers. Next up is 34, which is... Jeez, I almost forgot. Give me a second.
Hello everyone, it's me. This guy right here. The plant. I'm the guy who did this thing. Yeah, I'm not sending an image, I'll just let Super D decide what to put in the background. Anyways, Sensei. I noticed lots of people don't really like this song, and I've come here to defend it. Yes, that's right, defend it. In the first place, I think this song is actually the only song that tried to go with the theme of the week, while also being an original type of remix. Without counting Bricked for obvious reasons, this song is the only one that isn't just a normal remix. I'm looking at you, Thorns. The song actually changes the vibes to fit with the fighting game theme, or theme, I don't know how you pronounce it, sorry. San Senpai is a relaxed but happy song originally. Sensei does its job at being a slow but energetic song. It prepares you for what's to come. It's a perfect counterpart for the Senpai song in base game. I really like this song, and I personally will put it a bit higher, but something I have to agree with Super D is on that weird pause at the middle of the song. It really just kills the hype of the song a bit, and I don't really know why it's there. But yeah, that will be everything by my part. I'm gonna disappear into the void now.
Yay! Week 6! I love D-Sides Week 6, don't you? Seriously, we're just hitting the C tiers and we've already hit the best Week 6 song, which is only pretty decent? What happened to this week? Whatever, I will say that I've got to give Prick credit. Its first half is genuinely really good. Seriously, the instrumental and melodies and the vocals all work really well and are very catchy. Surprisingly, I actually like Spirit's chromatic here, since from the way it sounds, it feels like I shouldn't, yet I do. Boyfriend's compression isn't that good still, but it doesn't ruin the song or anything. You wanna know what actually ruins the song though? That fucking tone change halfway through the song! Why does the song just suddenly go from being a bop to boring and bad? I generally don't know how the song could have switched up in quality so quickly. And then soon after, it suddenly goes back to being good again, since it's basically just repeating the already good first half. So I just want to know what happened to make that part of the song so terrible. Sure, the song becomes repetitive when they just loop the first half again after that awful section, but I'll take a good repetitive melody over a bad melody that plays like once or twice. I'm being honest when I say this song could have been B tier, maybe even A tier if it wasn't for that one section. It was so close to being so good, but that section is just so agonizingly bad that I can't put it anywhere above C tier. At least now I don't have to talk about week 6 anymore. That's something. Hey, another song named after the opponent, and Pico is certainly better than Sensei. I don't have much to say about this song since everything it does is just pretty fine. Nothing awful or anything, just doesn't have anything that makes me want to start jamming or anything. Well, the one exception to that is the gun shooting section, because that is actually really good. The build-up to it is pretty decent, and the instrumental during the shooting section is also really nice, perfectly matching the vibe of the original Pico song. I mean, it kinda had to be good to make the section work since it's mostly just gun shooting sounds, but still, doesn't change the fact that I like it. Also, one small detail I especially like from this song is that during the last bit, Pico is reloading his gun over and over again. I get he does it throughout the entire song, but I like it specifically at the end because it implies he's preparing bullets for the next song. Just a small detail I thought was pretty cool. Overall, a pretty good song to start off week 3. Oh boy, we've hit our first free play song! You know, the ones that, instead of being D-side remixes of base game songs, are D-side remixes of songs from other mods. These, for the most part, are really good and are some of the best of the entire mod. But one has to be the worst, and after listening to all of them a couple times, this one was easily my least favorite. It's a me.
2, 1, go!
Hey everybody! It's me! Oh, you don't know who I am? Well, I don't like you. I'm kidding! Name's Salvy, from the famous FNF mod you might not know about, versus Salvy. Go play right now, please. Anyways, today, Super D himself has asked me to give my opinion on the D-side remix for It's a Me. Now, personally, I played this song the day 3.0 came out, and I was blown away. The song itself is amazing. I love the vibes it gives off, from the very ominous yet welcoming intro, the heavy metal part that is the rest of the song, all the way to that awesome finale. I love this song so much, and it's honestly one of my favorites. I don't know what Super D is gonna say about it, but I sure hope he has very nice words. Anyways, that's all from me. Remember to kill Moon or something. Okay, bye!
Sadly, for my boy Salvy, I have quite the opposite thoughts than he has with this song. Yep, one of the most popular songs from the mod, at least from what I've seen, is my least favorite of the free play songs. Not like it doesn't have any redeeming factors, it's not at the very bottom of the list for a reason after all. It just has lots of negatives. This time I'll get the negatives out of the way first so I can end this one on a positive note for once. So I'll just jump into my biggest problem with the song, and this isn't a term I use often, but this song kinda feels generic. Like, yeah, this definitely sounds like a Mario's Madness song, which is the point, after all, it is a remix of It's a Me. but at the same time, it doesn't do anything too unique to make it stand out from the rest of either the Mario's Madness OST or even the D-Sides OST. Like, why would I listen to this intense song when I can just listen to Starman Slaughter from Mario's Madness or D-Side Cycles? I just don't have a reason to listen to this song over other songs that just do what it does but better. While I really like how Boyfriend sounds, I don't really like Virtual ROM's Faker Chromatic. I know it's only at the beginning of the song, but that doesn't change the fact that I don't like it. It just feels too muffled, and I get how that might have been the team's intention, but it just makes hearing it awkward. But I do have to say his new chromatic when he transforms is a lot better. Not only is it not muffled anymore, but it also fits the more intense vibe that the rest of the song has. Also, getting a bit off topic for a second, but I just want to note something about the art very quickly, since while it's amazing, there's something weird to me about it. Why is Virtual ROM's red so different from everything else? Like, the background looks fantastic, and Boyfriend matches it with the same red coloring, but Virtual.ROM has a lighter red for his coloring, and it makes him stand out in a bad way. At the end he looks fine, since Boyfriend isn't on screen, so there's nothing to contrast with. But when Boyfriend is on screen, it's just impossible for me to not think about how weird Virtual.ROM's colors conflict with literally everything else. Anyways, most of the melodies work, but aren't too interesting to me. I guess the ones at the end are pretty decent, but other than that, the melodies from the vocals are just kinda there for me and don't really do too much to enhance the song in any way. But I enjoy the instrumental on its own, and I have to say that it's impressive how they were able to show how pissed off Virtual.ROM is with just the music and chromatic alone. And the voice line is pretty decent. It's like the melodies where it doesn't do too much to make the song better, but doesn't make it inherently worse or anything. So while I kinda get the hype for this song, I'm just kinda in the middle with it, between the lovers and haters. No strong opinion, it's just a pretty okay song. I'm gonna be honest, whenever I think of this song, I always think its name is Improbable Outcast, not Improbable Outset. Ignoring my awful memory, this might just be the song I have the least to talk about in the entire OST. I don't know, I just don't vibe with the song that much. Not much of it catches my attention, but when I focus on the song, I never really can pinpoint any problems I have with it. It just doesn't do anything to interest me in particular, I guess. But I will say that I really like Tricky's chromatic in this song. I don't like it more than the original one, but this one here is still really good. And the song itself fits as a remix of Improbable Outset really well. A problem that D-side remixes strangely have sometimes is some of them just sound nothing like the original song. Which isn't a problem for me, just thought I, would mention it I guess. And I know D-side songs usually do exactly that by making it feel very different from the original, but it usually still feels like a remix of the original song, which I can say this song definitely does. But yeah, fine song, moving on. Oh hey, I've been talking about Sensei and Pico so much that I forgot other characters exist in the base game. And finally, we're at the week that started it all, as long as you don't count tutorial, which we will eventually get to. But right now, this is about Fresh, and what do I think about it? Well, the best way I could describe it is being extremely chill in the best way possible. I honestly really like how deep both Daddy Dearest and Boyfriend sound in this song. For most other songs, it would be detrimental and sound awful probably, but for a slow song like this, it works perfectly. I also like how they changed the beatboxing at the beginning. It makes this song an even more unique version of Fresh than it already was. But this song is so low for a reason. While it definitely is a vibe, it is a tad bit boring for that same reason. Plus, even though I did praise how Daddy Dearest sounds in this song, he does sound kinda weird at some points due to him playing too many notes at once. The instrumental is also pretty empty and is basically nothing to it except for the beatboxing part, but that's about it. Pretty chill song that is enjoyable, but gets quickly boring after a re-listen or two. Wow, I can't speak. Okay, I have a confession to make. I used to think Awugo was easily the worst song in the OST. Obviously that's changed and there are much worse songs than this, but I still do share some of the past hate with how I feel about it nowadays. But I'll start with the positives like I usually do. This is kinda similar to Fresh in a way, a chill song before a more intense song. But with Awooga, I feel like it is a bit better than Fresh in being a chill song. Mostly because the instrumental doesn't feel as empty as Fresh. Don't get me wrong, it's not like this instrumental is amazing, it's barely even good, but it's definitely better than Fresh's. I also think that while Daddy Dearest and Boyfriend sound good and Fresh, My Mirrors and Boyfriend sound better by just a bit. But since I think it's similar to Fresh, it still has most of the same problems, but just to a slightly lower degree. So it's basically just Fresh but a bit better. So, pretty good I guess. Oh my god, we're in the B tiers. I'm so fucking happy. Genuinely, making the beginning of the script has been so agonizing, so I'm excited to finally get into the songs I either really like or love. And first on our list is And, the song that, from my knowledge, is about a joke character made by one of the devs and even got his own mod. Then they added him in D-sides because, why not I guess. But with backstory aside, this song is a jam for its first half. Everything before the first Biddle 3 motif is so good! I love SB's chromatic and it fits the energetic vibe of the song so well. Speaking of which, the instrumental is amazing alongside all the melodies. And that section with the crappy art style is both hilarious and is just as good as what it came before. Even with all the random sound effects added to the instrumental, it doesn't take away from the song at all. But then we get to the Biddle 3 motif and it kinda tanks from there. Not saying I don't like Biddle 3's motif, I really like it most of the time, but here it just sounds so weird and out of place for a reason I just can't name. Maybe it's because the other character's melody that plays over the Biddle 3 motif isn't that good? I don't know, that's all I can think about that could be the problem for me. Anyways, SB sadly gets kicked away and the song just goes from really good to mid from there when... I'm not saying this name. We'll just call him a Menace for safety reasons. But this Menace's chromatic is just sorta okay. I mean, I don't hate it, and I guess it works, but I don't love it as much as SB's. Also, while the instrumental isn't awful in this section, I wouldn't say it's as good as the first half either. And in general, feels like the change to a more dubstep vibe just doesn't work for what the first half was doing. And then they bring back the Biddle 3 motif, not once, but twice! Seriously, it just loops for no reason and it's so annoying. Trust me, I like this song a lot, but its second half just frustrates me so much with how okay it is compared to the amazing first half. But thankfully the first half is good enough to make this at least a B tier. It's crazy how high this song got when you consider how low I put the first two Pico songs. It isn't amazing or anything, it's still only a B tier, but I have to admit, this song is actually pretty good. I even had an S tier at one point. Obviously I don't think that anymore and I have noticed I don't like it that much, but the fact that I even considered it S tier at some point shows it's a step up from the other Pico songs. Bland wasn't even my favorite Week 3 song from base game, maybe even my least favorite of the 3 songs, so I had even lower expectations for this song when the first two weren't that good. Yet it still pulled through to easily be the best Week 3 song in D-sides. Pico and Boyfriend sound amazing together, even if Pico sounds a bit different. He still sounds good. And the gunshots in the song all feel very satisfying. They never feel out of place, but they only enhance the song. I feel like the gunshots alone just show how desperate Pico is to win because of how many more he does than in the last two songs. The instrumental also does a good job at this, really feeling like a more intense version of Bland, which was already pretty intense in the original. But now onto my problems. In general, I just don't fully click with this song like I do with others in the OST. It's got good moments, but I sometimes get bored when listening to it. Plus, the ending instrumental only being drums really makes the ending of the song feel empty and very unsatisfying. And while I did say I liked Pico earlier, I can admit that he sounds a bit, I don't know, robotic throughout the song, and it just sounds a little weird. So while this is easily the best Pico song in this mod, it's something amazing, even if it does have its moments. You're probably shocked Test made it as high as it did. Yeah, me too. Before we're listening to this OST a couple times for this ranking, I remember all the Week 0 songs sucking, so I expected all 3 of them to end up near the very bottom. And while I was right about 2 of them, this one surprised me and is actually pretty good. But I'll get my negatives out of the way so I can talk about all the things I love about this song. First, other than the instrumental sounding really good at the very beginning, the first half is just okay. It doesn't do anything to blow my mind or anything. In general, this song just doesn't do enough for me to place it any higher. Kinda similar to Improbable Outset, where there isn't too much inherently wrong about it, it just doesn't give me enough to put it any higher. Now, who cares about what I just said, because everything else about this song is amazing. When that tone change happens at the 50-second mark, the song goes from whatever to actually really good. I love the vibe so much, and when Playsetter starts using other characters' voices, god, I love it! And hey, Boyfriend even beatboxes and it works since it only comes in for a little bit before going back to his normal vocals. Man, imagine if they made a full song with Boyfriend beatboxing, that would be so cool. Oh yeah. Anyways, the entire ending section is also really nice. And even though this song does have a lot of tone changes, that doesn't stop me from loving it as much as I do. Great way to introduce Week 0, even if the songs afterwards aren't anywhere near as good as this song. Would you look at that, we finally had our first Skin and Pump song, Ghastly. Skin and Pump are really good in this mod, so to have their worst song being a B tier is nothing to scuff at. This is also the first original song in D-side, so that's pretty cool. But what about the song itself? For starters, the instrumental is pretty good at being energetic while giving off a bit of an intense vibe as well with how fast it is. The melodies complement the fast pacing really well, even if Skin and Pump sound a bit weird when singing them sometimes, for the very reason that they are fast. The song in general also just doesn't fit the Spooky Kids that well. It's not an awful contrast, but it feels like a song that doesn't feel specific to Skin and Pump, unlike the past 2 songs in the week that definitely feel like they fit Skin and Pump. Lastly, it does feel like a bit too much is happening at the ending of the song. While the melodies Boyfriend of the Spooky Kids sing during that section aren't bad, they're actually pretty good like the rest of the melodies of the song. It's just that since they're singing different fast-paced melodies at the same time, it just feels a bit too overwhelming. But the song is still great, just a bit too fast-paced, and the tone in general just doesn't fit Skin and Pump the best. Before I wrote this script, I thought this song was going to place a lot higher, at least an A tier. And while it for sure is still a good song, it isn't as good as I thought it was. Most of the melodies, while fine, are just nothing too special except for a few small exceptions. The instrumental is fucking amazing though. So good that it basically carries the song this high, since the melodies from the vocals really aren't doing it for me most of the time. But this instrumental makes me jam so hard. I'll also say that I love how Mommy Mirrors and Boyfriend sound together. It doesn't matter the mod, whenever these two sing together, it just sounds heavenly. Maybe if it had better melodies in the vocals, then it could have achieved the A tier I thought it was going to be, but B tier isn't too bad either. Another Mommy Mirror song that I really thought would place higher, but just didn't. To give this song some credit, it does have better melodies in the vocals than the last song, and the instrumental, while not as good, is still decent enough. My main problem with this song is that it feels like it's building up to something bigger but never hits that point, which makes listening to it feel a bit awkward. But the song itself is still good, the harmonies with Mommy Mirrors and Boyfriend being the highlight of course. I also like how they reference Awooga at the end, makes that song feel more important in a way I guess. The pop-off of the song is also really good, the melodies in the vocals and the instrumental definitely peaking at that part. Oh yeah, forgot to mention it in Awooga, but the nighttime shading on everything looks amazing. I love it when the last song in D-side weeks changes to nighttime since it makes the already amazing sprites and background look even better. Plus the fireworks really make the song feel like the climax of the week. It would have been weird if these were in Awooga because of how chill that one is, so good decision on the team's part. Anyways, about time I stopped talking about the art and move on to the next song already. Fuck yeah, week 5! I remember playing this on the day it came out and loving it so much. Even though this is the weakest of the 3 songs, it's still so good. I also just want to say that the team's idea to make this themed around Easter was so smart. They could have done week 5 since that just feels like an obvious choice when trying to replace Christmas with a different holiday, but then it would have just been the same vibe as week 2, so picking Easter for the holiday was a great idea. Anywho, we're here to talk about Green Eggs, this mod's remix of Coco. And while it sounds nothing like Coco, I don't care because not only did I not like the original Coco, but the energy the song brings easily makes up for that fact. Okay, it does have a bit of a tone change around the halfway point that brings down this song a bit because it really isn't anything that special and is a bit boring. But everything before and after is just so good. I didn't know what to expect music-wise when I learned this week was going to be about Easter, but what they did fits the holiday really well. A bouncy, happy vibe is what I probably should have expected from these songs, especially since the week 5 songs are already pretty happy sounding, but I'm an idiot, so yeah, that's my excuse. In general, just a great song, even with that weird tone change. Performance might be one of the most forgettable songs in the entire OST, so that's why I'm so shocked that I actually like this song quite a bit. This was genuinely so surprising to me because a song this good feels like it should be more memorable, but it somehow isn't. Let's begin with the chromatics, starting with Chica. Chica has such a nice sounding chromatic that fits her so well, even if it does sound a little boring at times in this song. But then there's Foxy, a chromatic that feels like it shouldn't work but somehow does. It fits his thief theme in this mod so well, and honestly it works really well with the melodies in this song. And the instrumental, while not doing anything to blow you away, is really fun. It definitely gives off the same vibe as the original performance. That also goes for all the melodies, some of them even getting stuck in my head from time to time. Again, I'm so shocked this song is as forgettable as it is because when listening to it again, I loved it. The only reason it isn't ranking any higher is mainly just because it doesn't do much outside of what it needs to do. Like I said before, it definitely has the vibe of the original performance, but I just feel like this song doesn't do enough to make it stand out, unlike songs above that definitely do. Still, such a fun song that I wish was more memorable. Looks like we've hit the halfway point of the ranking, and we start off with Boppy Bo, a pretty good song at that. That Deer's probably sounds at his best here, at least in week 1, and Boyfriend also sounds pretty good. I also really like how all the melodies and the vocals sound. Like, you can tell they're rearranged versions of the original Boppy Bo melodies, but they're different enough to not just feel like you're listening to the same song. But I do have one problem with the instrumental. Don't get me wrong, it's really good, but I don't love the bass. It is good, but it plays throughout the entire song, and when you listen to this song as many times as I have, that's a fact that becomes very clear very quickly. Again, the bass isn't even that bad, but it looping throughout the entire song kinda distracts me at times. Even with that, this song is still really good, a great way to start off the halfway point of this ranking. Let's go, more Spooky Kids! Spookies in this mod matches their energy so well, just two energetic kids who are looking for some fun. In general, this is just such a fun song to listen to. And that organ in the beginning, oh my god, it's great. Okay, it isn't perfect though, since surprisingly enough, while Skin and Pump were the weird sounding ones in Ghastly, now it's Boyfriend that sounds a bit weird, mostly at the beginning as he does get better throughout the song. Plus that second half, while not bad in the slightest and still sounds good, is not as good as the first half. There's also a random sound before the transition into the second half, which just feels so out of place and it is a bit distracting. But back to being positive, the Spooky Kids sound so good in this song. Even the parts where they sound a bit weird, they still end up sounding great. Since there are so many points where it feels like I shouldn't like their vocals, but I do. All I really have left to say is that the instrumental is really good in the first half before becoming pretty empty in the second half, but the melodies in the second half make it listenable at least. Such a good song. Trust me, if the second half was as good as the first, we could have had an S tier on our hands, but it sadly can only be B tier. Hey, our first EXE song. Yeah, if you can't tell by this placement, I really like the EXE songs in this mod if the worst one is only 18th place. Since even though Endless is my least favorite of the EXE songs, it still beats out half the list. First, we'll talk about Tenma's chromatic here, so we can get it out of the way. It's fine in my opinion, like nothing about it is awful and it works I guess, it just, I don't know, I don't love it or anything. I think the problem is just that it's too deep, so it doesn't work that well with a song that has a lot of notes. But Boyfriend in this song sounds amazing, seriously, his high notes sound so good. I would probably say this song is in one of those situations where I like the first half more than the second. But unlike all the other songs below that have that same problem, it's not even like the second half is that bad. No, the second half is actually pretty good as well, I just prefer the first half more personally. So even though this is my least favorite of the EXE songs in this mod, I still really like it and could definitely see why this would be someone's favorite from the entire mod, even if it isn't mine. Oh yeah, I wrote this part of the script before the new version of D-Side Endless came out. I guess I'll say that it's pretty good. I prefer the original, but I would probably say that the new version we got is also a B tier, just a much lower B tier. Well hey, guess I could put this into the pile of D-Side Redux songs that are worse than the original at least.
3, 2, 1.
And starting off the A tiers, we've got South. This song was so weird for me to rank because it was bouncing around everywhere in the tier list. I literally had in C tier, B tier, and A tier at least once when I was making this ranking. Eventually I settled on a low A tier because while I do have a few problems with this song, it has a lot of elements I enjoy enough to put it this high. Starting with the positives as usual, I love the vocal melodies in this song. That's honestly the reason why this song got as high as it did. Especially Skin and Pump, they sound great in this song. The song is similar to both Fresh and Awooga in a way, where it's a chill song before a faster one. But unlike those two songs, this song's melodies from the vocals keep my attention throughout the entire song. But this song doesn't come without its problems. Its biggest one is that the instrumental is just okay. What it has is good, but it feels very empty. Again, the vocals are definitely carrying the song, and the instrumental is just kinda there. But those melodies from Boyfriend and the Spooky Kids is enough to make the song barely make it into A tier. I honestly can't believe Tutorial got as high as it did. I love Girlfriend's Chromatic in this mod, and I'm so happy this isn't the only time they use it. Trust me, we'll get to that song later. And while Boyfriend sounds a bit weird at some points, he sounds pretty good throughout most of the song. I just find it really impressive with how much this song accomplishes in such a short amount of time. But that is one of my problems with the song. I want it to be longer, damn it! I understand why it isn't long. It's the tutorial after all, and it should be short because of that. But I just want more out of this song because of how good the stuff we did get was. Then again, adding anything else would probably ruin the pacing, so maybe it's best that they didn't make it any longer. Another problem I have is that one part near the beginning has Girlfriend saying a lot of left, up, down, right, and it's just going way too quickly. It just doesn't sound that good to listen to because they're just reusing the samples of the voice actor saying the note directions, so when putting those samples so close together, it doesn't work in a nice and satisfying way. But still, one of the best tutorial remixes I've ever heard, even with its minor issues. I mean, they even incorporated the spam notes at the end of the song. What more could you want? Let's go, the first of 2 Chester songs, Monster. Say what you will about D-sides, but they did such a good job at making Lemon Demon songs for the mod. He has such a good voice and the lyrics work so well. So glad they got a new voice actor since the new one just shows so much more emotion. Not saying the old one was bad, just that the new one does a better job at being Chester and singing his lyrics. Boyfriend also sounds really good in this song and complements Chester really well. Sometimes it feels like Boyfriend is just kinda there without adding much in some songs, but this definitely isn't one of those songs. He's great. Though I will say that sometimes it's hard to tell what Chester is saying in this song, especially since there isn't any subtitles in game for some reason. Like, there are subtitles in Feaster, so why didn't this song have any subtitles? Whatever, that isn't too big of a problem. Another small issue is that the ending isn't the best. It's nothing awful, but it just doesn't sound as amazing as everything else that came before it. And hey, the small mo we've heard for the new Redux version sounds pretty good, so at least it seems like they'll continue to make great Lemon Demon-like songs, even with the huge switch up they're doing.
Three, two, one, go.
Well, we were bound to get to it eventually. If you know anything about D-sides, you know this song. But is it as good as people thought it was when it released alongside Week 5? Of course it is! It's fucking Too Slow we're talking about! Like, where do I start with this song? I guess I'll start with how cool it was to unlock this song originally. In the update this was released in, to unlock it you had to type the word Mighty into the menu. To figure this out, the game would open up a notepad after you beat Week 5, giving you a riddle to solve to figure out the word and where to put it. That was such a fun idea for the time, and I always liked when they did that, like for Cycles and Endless. Anyways, onto the song itself, both Mighty.zip chromatics sound amazing. I love how the beginning starts with a fake Mighty and such a small timer that makes you aware that there is something wrong, but you don't know what it is. That's until the screen fades to black and you hear Zephaniah start to laugh as the time reverses, showing the true time of the song. God, it's just so genius! Speaking of the beginning faker section, it's honestly really good. It does a great job at both giving you the vibe that something is wrong while still sounding good, something FNF songs sometimes struggle to do. But let's get into the part where Zephaniah shows his true form. It is the majority of the song after all. I will say that it captures the vibe of Too Slow perfectly while also standing out as its own thing. It gives off the intense vibe so well, better than It's a Me did in my opinion. And I can't talk about this song without talking about its most remembered part. Oh yeah, we're talking about the lyrics section. When this song came out, I don't remember mods doing this as often as they do it nowadays since there are so many lyric sections now. But not when this was first released, which just made this song so much cooler. And Boyfriend's melody afterwards before getting back into the intense pacing is just so good. I have nothing else to say, this was just the perfect way to introduce the free play songs to D-sides. Oh fuck yeah, we finally hit our first Tank Man song, or Plain Man song I guess. Either way, it's obvious that this is my favorite week in the entire mod with how high my least favorite song of the week is at. But let's talk about guns now, and yeah, it's amazing. I absolutely love Tank Man's chromatic from base game, so since Playman has the exact same chromatic, of course I'm gonna love it too. It's just one of those chromatics that rarely fails. Hell, whenever I use placeholder vocals for songs, I usually use Tank Man vocals because they're that good. The instrumental is also pretty good as well. The only time I feel it isn't that good is some point near the end where it's just Boyfriend doing some long notes by himself, and not only is that kinda meh, but the instrumental also sounds kinda shit in that moment, but everything else about it is great. The melodies and the vocals are also really good. You know, besides that one with Boyfriend doing a ton of shitty long notes without Plain Man singing, but all the other melodies are fantastic. The pop-off melody, you know, the one I'm talking about, is probably my favorite, especially when Plain Man and Boyfriend sing at the same time. Their voices just work so well together. So yeah, it has a few problems, but I think Guns is great. And if this is the worst Plain Man song, then I can't wait to talk about the other two later on.
1.
Holy shit, it's lore! I was genuinely so shocked when they just slid this into the 2.6 update. I knew D-Guy was going to be in it because of the trailer, but this song being in as well just shocked me so much. Kinda sad this didn't get a new version in 3.0 when D-Guy did, but this song is still really good either way. I'll get into what I think of Vedguy's chromatic when we get to his song, but right now we can talk about MatPat's, or Max, since that's what he's called in this mod. Anyways, Max's chromatic didn't change from MatPat's, and I think that's for the best because of how good MatPat's chromatic is. I also just want to point out that I love how MatPat's D-side design is based off Charlie Kelly from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, specifically the Pepe Sylvia scene. I just think it's really funny that in this universe, Mac is a conspiracy theorist and literally just breaks into Vedguy's house. Perfect lore for the song. What was I supposed to talk about again? Oh yeah, the actual song. It's fucking lore. Do I really need to tell you its peak? Because that's obvious enough. Okay, I actually do have one big issue with the song, and it's the ending bit. Not only is the final melody Max sings is pretty forgettable considering it's the final melody of the song, but in general, I just hate Police Guy's chromatic. I get it's trying to be like Phone Guy's from the original, but it just doesn't work as well as Phone Guy's chromatic, like, at all! It genuinely ruins this ending section because of how awful it is. But everything before that is amazing, so I have to at least give this an A tier, but it could have been S if it wasn't for fucking Policeman! I don't care how cool your animation into the song is, get the fuck out!
3, 2,
Oh, Cycles, where do I even start? Well, I guess I could start with...
Ugh, finally, that guy just wouldn't stop talking. Oh wait, hello everybody once again! Sorry for the rude interruption, once more. I just couldn't contain myself with this next song my good friend Super D was just about to talk about. What is it, you ask? I'm not telling you. Just kidding! It's Cycles D-Sides, of course! This is honestly probably my favorite song from the entire mod, besides It's a Me D-Sides. I honestly love everything about this song. The art style, the music, the gameplay, and of course, the idea. The idea of this mighty looking creature being able to turn into old Sega characters like Rystar and Vectorman is such a good homage to the Genesis characters, but also flows so well with the song. Every single section is amazing! The intro part with Mighty is amazing. The part with Rystar is a nice change of pace and flows so well. The part with Vectorman is pretty fast paced and I enjoy it a lot. And then Alex Kidd's part being slow paced is so cool and I love his design. And the finale, oh my god, mwah, chef's kiss. Just perfect. Well, I think that's all the time I have for now before he wakes up. Remember to play versus Salvy and boycott Southbot. Bye!
Ugh, how'd he even get in here again? Whatever, back to what I was trying to say. I was going to say I'll probably talk about this song in each phase since each one is pretty distinct from each other. So let's start with phase 1 with Godzi in his normal state. First, I'll point out how much I like the opening. It really fits the vibe of the original Cycles, and I can say that for basically the entirety of the section. Godzi has one of those chromatics kinda similar to Dwayne in his spirit form and Foxy's where it sounds like it shouldn't work, but it somehow does. Boyfriend also sounds great for the majority of the song, not just this section. And the melodies here are also really good. No wonder some of them are reused for the ending of the song, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So yeah, great opening to the song. And I also want to quickly mention how cool it is that in Godzi's right post for each phase, you see the next form he's gonna transform into. That's just such a fun detail to me. Speaking of which, let's head on to the next phase now, which is Ristar's. I just have to say that I love how he looks here, and the slight change in Godzi's chromatic to fit him also sounds really nice. The song slows down a bit, and that makes sense considering the section after this goes back to being intense like the first. But in general, this might be my favorite phase of them all. Like, the boyfriend solo in it is so fucking good. One of my favorite parts of the entire song, if not my favorite. Not much to say about this section because of how amazing it is. It just works really well. But then we get into Vector Man's phase, and it's kinda a drop in quality. The beginning starts strong, and I love the melody both Vector Man and Boyfriend play. The change in Godzy's chromatic here doesn't do too much for me, so while I don't hate it, I don't love it as much as the change in Ristar's. But past the first melody and kinda the second one, I just sorta get bored with this section. And Boyfriend also has a bit too high of notes near the ending of this section that sounds really annoying. But the transition into the next phase is fine at least. Oh yeah, here comes my second least favorite part of the song, Alex Kids. And yes, that means Vector Man's is my least favorite if that wasn't obvious. I mean, this section's fine, that's all I have to really say for this one. It's like Ristar's section in a way since it's a slower segment to lead up to a more intense one, except Ristar's section was a lot better. But I will say that Boyfriend's solo here sounds really nice, and the change in Godzy's chromatic is pretty neat as well. But who cares about that? We're in the final section now, the one with all the forms at once. And yeah, it pops off so hard. Okay, it does sound a bit repetitive to me, but that's just a small issue since this section is still really good. Again, I love how it brings back the final melody from section 1 and uses it for the majority of this section, mainly since that was my favorite melody from the first section. So while this song definitely has some low points like Vector Man's face, it has way more positives to counteract the low points. If I had to rank each phase separately, I'd probably say Vector Man's is 5th, then Alex Kids is 4th, then a tie between Godzy's face and the final one for 3rd and 2nd because of how equal they are to me, and Ristar's is easily 1st. But yeah, just an amazing song in general. Oh hell yeah, Plain Man's back and now we've got... I wasn't kidding when I said this is probably my favorite week in the mod. The only other week that I think could possibly rival it is week 5. But let's get my biggest negative out of the way first so we can get to the good stuff. Boyfriend, while he sounds amazing, is too damn quiet. It's not even subtle because of Plain Man's chromatic being at the right volume, so it's just that much more noticeable that Boyfriend is quiet as fuck. And I guess Plain Man does sound a bit weird at some points, but that's it for the negatives since everything else in this song I love. For starters, the instrumental sounds so bouncy and oh, it's so good! Some parts are definitely better than others in it, but it ranges from just serviceable to actual peak. I guess that's another issue, that it's a bit inconsistent, but I don't mind it, so I don't care. And while Plain Man does sound a bit odd in some parts, all the parts where he doesn't sound weird are just amazing. This goes for Boyfriend too, but instead of sounding weird at some parts, he's too silent, but I've already gone over that. And come on, the "you're ugly" is just so funny and such a good replacement for Too bad this song got heavily nerfed in its Redux version, but hey, this version is still amazing and will at least be playable as an alt version. I'll take that. Oh, and would you look at that? Now we have Foolhardy, the other Rariplin song that was turned into an alt mix for the Redux version, even though the new version they made is so much worse than the original. Thank goodness we don't have to talk about that one, and I can talk about the good version of the song. I just want to start off by saying how genius it was for them to make Skin and Pump the characters you play as in this song. It fits the song so well and makes the song so much more memorable because of their appearance here. Plus, the goofy art style for them is just perfection, an absolute masterpiece of art made by Yosabo. I really should have just ranked Aerofunk. What was I thinking? Anyways, enough questioning my dumbass logic, let's talk about the actual song. I think the vibes look kinda different from the original Foolhardy, fits the characters really well. Both the Spooky Kids and Zardy, who has one of my favorite designs from the entire mod. The spooky vibes, alongside Rariplin's usual style he gives to most of his songs, makes this song fit with the Spooky Kids and the theme of Halloween so perfectly. All three chromatics in this song sound great and work together really well, only emphasizing how great these melodies are even further since, holy shit, every single melody in this song works so well. My only problem with this song is that there are some kind of slow moments that I don't hate, but I usually am just waiting for the better parts of the song to come in during those sections. But that's practically my only complaint since I really do love everything else. And the voice lines are just so cute, straight up perfection, nothing else to say.
Yes, hello, hi, yes, hi, hello, yes, hi, it's me, current artist and future missing person, Moon. You might know me for my very popular, iconic, and bum-fuzzling creations, such as Christmas, FNF Edition, and of course, the Quebec referendum of 1980, such a classic. But anyways, I'm here to talk about my favorite song from B-Sides, Foolhardy! Yay! For some reason, a bunch of people seem to think that this song is bad, and like, I just don't understand how those people can be so stupid, because oh my god, is this one good.
But it isn't really a remake. It doesn't even sound like the original.
Well, first of all, you're wrong, and also, since when is that a problem? Last I checked, people just love D-side cycles and It's a Me, and those sound like completely different from the original version, okay? So why isn't this one allowed to? But yeah, the song itself is like really good. I just love how overally impactful and intense the instrumental is. It pairs like super well with Zardy's vocals and just has a nice contrast with the spooky kids as well. Though, what I especially like about this song is the ending part where it just gets super fast. It's so damn catchy, man. I just don't understand when the team ended up deciding to remake it. Like, why? And hey, if liking this song means I deserve to be found in real life, have my apartment broken into by an angry mob before they start beating me up, breaking my bones, ripping my floorboards open, and covering my walls in doo-doo feces, if it means I get followed to work, rammed by a pickup truck while crossing the street and being psychologically manipulated to gain every and all diseases, well, I guess that's just a risk I'm willing to take. And yeah, with that, that's gonna be it for me, so be sure to follow my socials, watch Catching Up episode 2, and leave just a bunch of comments on how you'll find me and just burn me alive.
Look, I know this probably shouldn't be as high as it is, but I don't care! I love this song so much! It's simple, but all the elements combine to make what is probably my favorite dad battle remix in this entire community. My only issue with this song is that there's a weird sound that plays in the background to the pop-off point that I don't like that much, but everything else about this song is amazing. I know I said that Die sounds best in Bobby Bo, but this song is pretty close to reaching the same level as Bobby Bo since I absolutely adore how he sounds here. Same goes for Boyfriend, as he sounds just as phenomenal as Die even if he is a tad bit louder than him. And yes, the instrumental is pretty basic, but other than that weird noise I mentioned, it works with the vocals so well that I generally don't care how basic it is. And the melodies, holy shit, I love these melodies so much. Especially the melody in the pop-off section. That's probably what's gotten this song so high, because oh my god, that section is just so good. Again, it feels like the song shouldn't be this high, but I can't help it. It's just that good, and I'm tired of believing it's not! You know, as someone who didn't really like Week 5 in general from base game, I wasn't expecting much when the D-Side Week 5 update came out. Sure, I was excited for it, but at the same time, I felt like it wouldn't hold up to the other weeks that were released up to that point. Thank God I was wrong, because this song is so good! Ham, unlike Green Eggs, which kinda just did its own thing without connecting it too much to Cocoa, actually feels like a remix of Eggnog. I love how they made the song go from jolly to more intense. It really feels like Dad Deers and Mommy Mirrors are just fed up with Boyfriend in this song as they try and get him away from their daughter, but Boyfriend just won't back down. I feel like that's best shown with all the parts where Boyfriend and the parents are singing at the same time, not letting the other get the upper hand. God, it's just so fucking good! My only problem with this song is that it feels a tad bit repetitive, but not because it repeats the same melody over and over again. Instead, it's because all the melodies kind of blend into each other in my mind, especially when I have this song on loop. Each melody in this is amazing, but they kind of all feel a bit too similar for my mind to distinguish them from each other, I guess. I don't know, guess it's just my mind being stupid. Either way, I go back to my point from Prick, where just because it's repetitive doesn't mean it's bad, since all the melodies here, again, are really good, so I don't mind that it feels a bit repetitive to me. Though it is a small issue I felt I had to say.
So, Ham. I like Ham. Ham is the second song of Week 5, and it's the replacement for Eggnog. Like Green Eggs, though, it's very different from the original, taking its own pace. I think this is because Christmas is kind of baked into the original Week 5 songs, and taking that away changes it on a structural level or something, I don't know. I think Ham is cool, though. Both it and Green Eggs are cool reimaginings of the Week 5 songs. I don't mention Feaster, partially because I thought someone else would do a monster song, but it's my favorite song of the week. Back to Ham, though. It definitely shows its age with how old it is, but it's very iconic. Maybe a weird compliment, but this song is like prime remake material. The composition and structure is very solid, and if it was elaborated on, I think it would be great. As it stands, it's still very good, just old and it showed. I like Ham from FNF D-Sides. The FNF remix mod named D-Sides on the 4-sided case with the song named Ham.
And we're not done with Week 5 just yet, because now we've got Feaster. I know I already said this in the monster section, but god, they really do the Lemon Demon song so much justice in this mod. I feel like his songs are one of, if not the hardest parts to do in a remix mod, since he only sings in actual lyrics. But D-Sides didn't have any problems with that and made 2 amazing Lemon Demon songs that blew every other one in the community out of the way. Well, at least for the time when these 2 songs came out. Nowadays, a couple more Lemon Demon songs have come out that are pretty much on par with the D-Side ones. But we're getting a bit off topic. It's time to talk about Feaster. Chester sounds as amazing as usual, but this time it's a lot easier to understand what he's saying, unlike Monster where it was a bit difficult. Sure, at times it is still hard to hear what he's saying, but thankfully they added subtitles to this song, so it's a lot easier to hear what he's saying, because it's literally telling you. Originally, I was going to point out how Boyfriend doesn't add that much to this song, but after hearing how atrocious both Girlfriend and Pico sound in their mixes of this song, I appreciate Boyfriend in this song a whole lot more. And we can't forget Chester's new buddy, Lemon Babino. I just really want to mention how I love the lore that Chester just found this little guy at a frickin' Walmart and just took him in. The ridiculous lore they made for some of these characters is just so good. But getting back to the song, the transition to Lemon Babino coming in is really well done. Mainly because he doesn't just randomly come in, instead Chester's lyrics communicate that he's coming in, which works perfectly. I also love how Lemon Babino sounds. He sounds like a little gremlin, and I'd say that fits this little guy's design perfectly. Oh, and when the choir comes in at the end, holy shit, it sounds both heavenly and demonic at the same time. Heavenly because of how good it sounds, but demonic as well because of the creepy tone it gives off. And when Chester and Boyfriend harmonize with the choir, it just gets even better. I guess the song is a bit too long, and again, Chester could be a bit too hard to hear at times, which isn't the best, but that doesn't mean the song isn't amazing, because it is, and I will stand by that. It was really tough to decide whether Milk was either A tier or S tier, constantly switching between both placements when ranking this OST. The reason why I was debating this was because it does have some problems with it, unlike the other S tier songs where I basically have zero problems with any of them. For one, Mitty is a bit too loud, and while that isn't much of a problem when I loop this song as much as I do, it still is a problem that I can't ignore. Plus, the instrumental can feel a bit empty at times. But when I realized these weren't that big of problems for me and how much the positives completely outweigh the negatives, I knew I had to put this song in S tier. This song takes the vibe from the original Milk and amps it up by 1,000, cause while the original was more chill, this one is just so much more bouncy and energetic and it works so well. All the chromatics in this song are fantastic and amazing to listen to. Sunky's chromatic doesn't change too much from his original, but the changes made to it work so well. And Dr. Robotnik's chromatic works really well with him. The whole beginning section in general is just so nice to listen to. I also love how Dr. Robotnik literally kicks Sunky out of the building before the next section. It doesn't clash with the song at all and got a good laugh out of me when I first played this. But speaking about the next section, after Sunky gets kicked to the curb, MIDI comes in and the song somehow gets even better. While MIDI is a bit loud, I don't get too annoyed by it because he sounds fucking fantastic. I especially love the first melody in this section. It always gets stuck in my head and god, I can't stress how much I love this song. And then we end off with Dr. Robotnik being flung out of the window as MIDI closes out the song in a very nice way before also getting punted. Such an amazing song to start off the S tiers. High is so fucking amazing for no reason. Seriously, this is the most forgettable of the 3 week 4 songs in base game, and they went this hard on it? I think that's another reason why I used to hate Awuga so much back then, because that song came after this one, and if it weren't so obvious, this song is literally perfect. I generally have no problems with it. The only reason it isn't higher is because the 3 songs above it are just songs I listen to more often. Every single melody is great to listen to, giving off the vibe of the original perfectly while still doing its own thing. The instrumental is just heavenly. There aren't any weird noises that distract you or anything, it just does everything it has to in the best way possible. This song even has a key change, but it smoothly transitions to it so well that it works without feeling forced. And easily my favorite part of the song is Mommy Mirrors and Boyfriend. Like I said earlier, their chromatics just work so well together, and just like in the final song in this week, the harmonies between these two is just so satisfying and nice to listen to. This actually used to be my favorite song in the OST before I started re-listening to all these songs for this video. So let's see which 3 songs ended up beating this one out in the end. The final EXE song in the mod, and how the fuck did they cook this hard? Seriously, this was for a Thanksgiving update that only added this song. They didn't need to go this hard with it. I remember being on a Thanksgiving trip when this was released and just waking up to experience peak. There's just so much to talk about this song. For starters, the little cutscene they added for the update this came out on is just so cute. It reminds me a lot of analog horror videos and does a great job of being the introduction to the song. It's just the OG EXE crew having a Thanksgiving feast with their D-side counterparts, and the vibes from both the song and cutscene portray that perfectly. And while we're talking about the characters in this song, I just have to say that all of their chromatics sound so good and work with everyone else's phenomenally. They take the concept of having 6 characters in this song to the limit, having them all sing with different characters, and it's just so much fun to listen to. I mean, they even made Tenma sound good. That's an accomplishment in itself. The instrumental is both jolly and intense at the same time, fitting both the Thanksgiving theme as well as the characters singing it because they are literal gods. Of course the song would be at least a tiny bit intense at some points. Oh, and the parts where each of the crews harmonize with each other, god, it's just music to my ears. Okay, sorry, I had to shut up for a second. That part is genuinely so amazing. Probably my favorite part in the entire mod. And all the melodies are so freaking catchy and constantly getting stuck in my head. Oh, and the bit at the end with Seth and Naya is really funny. I can't believe they just dropped this with barely any build up, especially because of how fucking amazing it is. Yep, my favorite base game song in D-Sides is Stress, not even a contest. High was really good, but it was never a true contender for my favorite of the base game songs when Stress is just this perfect. Sure, aside from the melodies, it doesn't sound that much like the original Stress, instead going for a more climactic feeling, but I genuinely don't care because this song goes so hard and is the perfect final song to end D-Side's base game. I understand that they're doing Weekend 1 for Redux, but if the mod were to stop updating base game after week 7, then I wouldn't be mad because this song is just so climactic and really feels like the end of a journey. Like, you've gone through all these songs and opponents and now you end things on top of a plane with this dramatic song? That just works so well. Anyways, let's talk about the actual song. All the chromatics sound perfect along with the amazing melodies. Plainman and Boyfriend's chromatics work together as usual, but the cherry on top really is Girlfriend, because holy shit, she sounds so good in this song. Her high notes sound so heavenly, and she works with Boyfriend so well. I'm so glad they added her vocals to this song, since I always felt like that was a missed opportunity in the original game, since Girlfriend is right there in Boyfriend's arms, why isn't she helping him out? And yeah, while the instrumental doesn't remind me much of the original Stretch, it still works really well. Again, I absolutely adore the dramatic vibe it gives off. It really does feel like you hit the end of the mod and now you're closing things off with this dramatic, climactic masterpiece. And that build-up before getting intense like the original, oh my god, it should be illegal to cook this hard. But, as amazing as this song is, one song did beat this one out, just by a smidget.
Three, two, one, go.
You don't understand how difficult it was to choose between D-Guy and Stress as my favorite song, because they are both so different that it was almost impossible for me to choose which one was my favorite. Seriously, one is this dramatic finale while the other is just goofy fun. They're practically opposites. But eventually I decided to choose D-Guy for just being a slight bit better. D-Guy in the original 2.6 update was already really good and I was happy with how it came out, probably an A tier. But when they released update 3.0 and I saw they updated this song because of the new style Urp I got, not only was I shocked that they even did this, but also because of how this song went from really good to literally perfect. Every single melody, whether it's new or a reference, is such an earworm and works amazingly with the chromatics. Speaking of which, Ved probably has my favorite chromatic in the entire mod. He just sounds so satisfying to listen to, giving off the goofy vibe he clearly shows off in his poses. And Boyfriend sounds just as great, sounding more childish to fit the goofy vibe of both the song and Ved himself. The instrumental adds to this with how bouncy and energetic it is, just like Milk. In general, this song is kinda just a better version of Milk since they are honestly really similar. They're both really goofy songs with goofy characters, but this one just works for me a bit more, and even then, I still love Milk, so saying I like D-Guy more just shows how amazing this song is. Oh, and the "It's Been So Long" reference is so nice to listen to. I've heard from some people that the reference is a bit random and doesn't fit in with this energetic song, but I personally disagree. The only times it is referenced is during the slower sections of the song, and since the song their reference is a sad song, it works. It would have been different if they added it during the faster section, but they knew when to have it and when to keep it out. So that's why I think it actually works instead of being just randomly put in there for a popular FNF song reference. But yeah, the original song being so good also has a part in why I like the references to it in the song so much. Guilty. I don't know what else to say. I just love every single second of this song. It fits Ved so well while also being so catchy and just perfect. Again, I can't believe they turned an already amazing song from 2.6 to an even more amazing song in 3.0. Just an absolute masterpiece that, to this day, I can't get enough of. But wait! We aren't done yet! If you remember what I said from the very beginning, oh, what the hell do I mean? No one can remember that far back. Just play the clip. But I'll save most of my thoughts on the Redux version for the end of the video, just because this intro is lasting way too long. So, now that we've gone through the whole ranking, I'll quickly give my thoughts on Redux. Not just the songs, but also the new art style, since that and the music are the biggest changes since literally all of it got remade. Let's start with how I feel about the art. I want to start off by saying that the new art looks gorgeous. You can easily see the improvement. I just have to say that I respect the team a whole lot to even make the decision to redo the whole mod. Like, they didn't have to do this at all, especially considering how much they already had done when 3.0 came out. The fact that they decided to just shows how much they love this mod if they're willing to redo the entire thing just to make it as high quality as possible. But my biggest gripe with the new art style is that, while it looks great, it just doesn't have the same uniqueness that the original art style had. The original art style felt similar to base game while still doing its own thing. I especially loved how not all the lines were perfect and sometimes were a bit jagged. Something that sounds like it would look bad, but execution looks amazing. And the new art style lacks that uniqueness, even if it looks good. But like I just said, it still looks good and I still really like it. Besides, I have a lot more issues with the music. So yeah, I'll merely get this out of the way. I don't really like many of the new songs. Okay, to be fair, I do like the new Feeling Nice. The snippet of Monster we've heard sounds really good as well. And I guess the new version of South is fine, even if it isn't as good as the original. The same could be said with the new version of Endless. Not bad at all, it's actually really good still. It's just worse than the original. But every other song I have a problem with. For example, while I was really happy to see D-sides in the Funkcast 3 Direct, The snippet of the dad battle instrumental we heard sounded pretty bad in my opinion. Like, it sounds nothing like the original D-Sides version, which I would be okay with if it didn't sound so boring and basic. And guess what? It sounds boring and basic! But Dad Battle gets a pass for now since we've only heard a snippet of just the instrumental so far and the full thing isn't even out yet. It just wouldn't be fair to give my full opinion on it now when the thing isn't even fully out yet. Though I will say that the new Dad Battle so far shows my biggest issue with Redux on the music end. To me at least, the new songs are trying to be a bit too similar to the original songs they're remixing. Like, going back to Dad Battle, the original gave off a completely different vibe while still sounding like the normal Dad Battle. But the new one feels like it's too similar to the original when D-side remixers used to be known for taking a song and remixing it so much that it stands out as its own thing, while still sounding similar to the original. Another example being the Week 5 songs. But I'll admit that this hasn't applied to every Redux song so far. For example, the new D-side Endless is pretty different from the original while still feeling like a remix of it. Even if it isn't as well done as some of the older D-side songs, even the current version of D-side Endless we have in game does a better job at it, but I digress. While I prefer the current version, I have to admit that the new Redux version isn't bad and is actually pretty good. Even Ugly, the new version of D-side, sticks to this because even if I don't like it nearly as much as the original D-side, it still does a decent job at sounding almost like a completely different song while still sounding like But onto the song that really frustrates me whenever I think of Redux songs, Foolhardy. Since not only does it sound a lot worse, even if it fits the original song style better by just a bit, but the one in 3.0 was miles better, but was relegated to only being an alt mix because it didn't fit the vibe of Foolhardy? Like, what the fuck? Wasn't that the point of D-Sides? To take the original idea of something and go to the extra mile with it? Where it feels almost completely different while still feeling like the original in a way? Sorry if it sounds like I'm repeating the same point over and over again, but I generally can't believe they decide to instead make the new version of the song sound more generic and similar than trying to do something new. For fuck's sake, these are the people who turned Cycles into a 5 fucking minute song! If this is the treatment they're giving to the new songs, I don't want to know what the new cycle looks like if they're trying to keep it to the original as much as they can. Sorry for getting so mad there. It's just that this mod means a lot to me, so to see stuff like this just frustrates me so much more than I feel like it should. Let me end this off by saying that I am really excited for D-Side Redux to come out when it eventually does, no matter how many problems I have with it. It does seem like they're improving a lot, and I can't wait to play it. Now, finally, let's just jump to the ending of this long-ass video now. I genuinely can't believe we finally made it to the end of this video. It has taken so long to make. I just want to say thanks to Collab46, Salvy, Moon, and Plant Gamer for coming in to help with some sections. I really appreciate it. I also want to say thanks to the D-Sides team for making the mod so special to me. Without it, I might have never had the motivation to get into the modding side of this community and maybe wouldn't even met most of the friends I have now. So even if I was a bit negative at some points, I really am thankful this mod exists and it was really fun to talk about. I don't know if I'll ever make a video like this again just because of how tiring it was to make, but I'm not against the idea. If I ever did make another video like this, it might be about Aerofunk since that mod is a much shorter one, first of all. And second of all, it's the other mod that helped me get into this community. But I'm not against doing other mods like, I don't know, Dustin or BFDI26 since those two are some of my favorites. I might even do ranking videos of different things besides FNF mods. That sounds like it could be fun. Who knows, we'll see what happens. Anyways, that's it for now, and I hope you have an amazing day. See you next time.